Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Badminton for Kids. Very windy day, you might hear some wind in the background, but racket, lots and lots of rackets. So, which racket do you think is good for the kids? So, I'm talking about the kid perspective as they learn and they grow. So, I guess I'm only going to make this video based on our experience, or my experience as a dad, and how, especially the big one, Mei-Lin, how has she progressed throughout the journey. So there's lots of racket, different tension, different head weight, blah 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 blah. Right, so let me try to find this. So at the beginning, the best racket for her, for Mei-Lin and for Yi-Lin, she's 8 now. So when they first started, they actually were using the tiny junior racket. So we were very lucky that we got given these two smaller rackets. So someone had cut them down and gave them to us. And actually, he was a coach from China. I don't know where I got the second one from. I think I got this second one from the local club who, did a lot of work with beginners as well. So I'm pretty sure that one came from that local club, and this came from the coach in China. The reality is when they're like 6, 7, or even 8 years old, a full-size racket is just simply too long, and often it will hit the ground. And it's also very, very heavy, even for a really light racket. So I found that when they first started out, a tiny racket like this is amazing. So my 3 years old, or my 4 years old now at the moment, whenever he jumped on court, the very, very tiny amount of time that he jumps on court, he would use this racket here, the tiny little one. So, it's not too difficult for them to hit, and they have fun with it. So at that young of an age, the most important thing is to get them on court and just get them to have fun and get them to love badminton and hitting shuttle. Oh, very windy. I think a bit of rain as well. So yeah, small racket. And as they get older, so this is about 4, 5, 6. This one will be about 6 and 7 years old. So my younger daughter, 8 years old, she has now moved to a full size. But I didn't get it. I tried to give her a full-size racket before, and she just didn't like it. It was just too long. So don't force a full size on your kids too early. That's in my opinion. I know that I've seen on YouTube out there, plenty of kids that use full size at quite a young age, and they seem to do quite well. If they can, great, go for it. Oh my goodness, it's heavy rain now. If you can't hear me properly, that's probably why. So yes, small racket. And this small racket is actually really good for you to practice at home as well. So even as an adult, in most people's home or apartment, the ceiling's pretty low. You can actually even get racket that are even shorter than this, where the head would actually be down here. And this is a great racket for you at home, just to practice your grip, your swing, grip strength, forearm strength, rotation, or whatnot. And you don't risk of hitting the ceiling. So short rackets, great for kids as well as great for practicing at home. Right, so when my kids started to go up in size, we started to go for the first racket that I got for them, for Mei-Lin and Yi-Lin using this now, is this racket here, which is a Nano Flare 170 Lite. So this is a U5 racket, so it's really, really light, very easy to play. It looks pretty. When they're 8 years old, they don't have a lot of power in their swing. So having something nice and light, it just allows them to able to easily swing without using too much effort, and they get the chance to get used to the full-length racket. And not only that, when kids are 8 years old, they're pretty careless with the racket as well. So I think this, when it was on sale, it was only about 125 New Zealand dollars. So what, maybe about 80 US dollars on sales. And it's a really nice racket. If they rough with it, I don't worry too much about it. And if they hit it correctly, they can still generate plenty of power, and it still make really beautiful sound when they hit it correctly. So yeah, nice racket for them to use. Now, Once they start to get used to this racket and they start to show they're a bit more responsible with their gear and they're a bit more serious with the badminton, the next one that I got for my daughter is, let's see if I got the right one, here we go, the beautiful Nano Flare 800. So this is a hand-light racket. It is super quick to swing in the hand and the overhead, right? So once again, they still young, they still, quite weak. They still learning their basic techniques. And a racket like this, the Nanoflare 800, is significantly more powerful than the Nanoflare 170. And I guess the fact you can go from a headlight to another headlight racket, it just means that there's not much adjustments that the kids have to make, but they were able to feel significantly more power out of this. Sorry, phone call, be right back. Hello, I'm back. Sorry about that, that was a phone call. So yes, I thought the transition from the Nanoflare 170 to the Nanoflare 800 was a very smooth transition for Mei Lin when she was at the stage where she needed more power and more from her racket. And even Lin at the moment, she can definitely feel the difference in power between the 800 and the 170. So I think it's probably about a good time for Lin to now move to the 800. Her swing is good enough now that she doesn't hit the floor anymore with the racket. So remember when they're really small, and then when they use a big racket, when they swing, quite often they will hit the ground with the racket. And this is the N800 is a pretty expensive racket. So it's quite painful whenever they hit the ground with it. So that's why Lin was using the 170. But I think now she's good enough now to move to the N800. So Mei Lin stayed on the N800 for a little while, maybe about a year and a half. And then her techniques got better. She got more powerful. So this is great for like speed, accuracy, control. But in terms of getting the clear and the power in her smash, you probably need to use more from you in terms of like your body strength to get that power. And at 10, 11 years old, especially for a girl, they're just not strong enough to really generate the power from this racket. So that's when we move up to the next racket, which is the very popular, the beautiful 77 Pro. Now this took a little bit more of an adjustment because this is now a hand-heavy racket, while the N800 is a hand-light racket. So what that means is that when you do your fast drive and your squeeze, this is quite fast, because the majority of the weight of the racket is towards the bottom of the racket. So it feels very effortless. There's not much resistance in the head because head light. When you move to a head heavy, as you squeeze, you can really feel the weight down this end of the racket, right? So that squeezing there is a little bit slower. But I guess when you're playing under like the under 13, even under 15 game, the speed is not as fast as what will be in the senior. So she has enough time to squeeze. The biggest benefit she get out of this is when she starts hitting overhead, where she can really feel the weight of the racket coming from behind and basically smash into the shuttle. So when she hits like this, a smash, I guess the noise, the volume of the noise coming out of the N77 Pro is quite a lot louder than the N800. N800 tend to be a bit more high pitch, while this one tend to be a bit more like thunderous, really, and the same as a clear. And there's a massive difference in the distance in the clear between the 77 Pro and the N800. So she's loving this the 77 Pro at the moment, and she doesn't feel it's too slow for her also. So I think this will be the racket for her for quite a little while. So yeah, that is Mei Lin transition. I have seen kids play with the 1000Z, which I find it quite interesting, and honestly. The 1000Z, the Nanoflare 1000ZZ, should I say, is a head-like racket with a very, very stiff shaft, which means you need a pretty strong swing in order to flex the shaft. So if you can't flex it, you are not using any of that energy stored in here to transfer into the hand to hit the shuttle. So if you only have a moderately weak swing, there's no way you can bend this shaft. So you're not getting any power out of this. The head, the sweet spot in the N800, in the 1000ZZ is really small as well. So the chance of a missed time and missed hit is significantly higher for the 1000ZZ. In terms of speed-wise, it's probably as fast as the N800. I would say probably even slower if you don't have a fast enough swing, just because it does feel quite a lot more heavy. It's also, personally, I found that I feel the 1000Z needs more body workout. Like you really feel your body having a workout by playing with the 1000ZZ. Mainly because like all the weight's down here, nothing up here. It's super stiff in some shaft. The sweet spot is so small, right, that you need to time it perfectly. So to get power from this, you really have to swing pretty fast. And even just the finger squeeze, you got to squeeze it pretty hard to able to feel any kind of flex in here, right? So it's quite demanding, that's it. It's quite demanding, it's like physically demanding on your body. So if I was to coach a kid, I don't think I would recommend the 1000ZZ for a kid, probably not. I would probably say have to get up to say like under 17, then they will start to get pretty fast. For singles, maybe a top under 15 can probably use this, but I can't imagine this racket be any useful in the hand of under 13 kids, unless you're like a super, super amazing under 13 years old. But even then, you have so many other beautiful rackets to use that I think will be less demanding on the body and give you as much power, if not more, really. So yeah, so to recap, I think for a lot of kids, Nanoflare, the Nanoflare series are great rackets, you know, from the 700 to the 800. Now they have the 700 Pro, which is a beautiful racket with the purple matte color design, and as well as a new N800 Pro. The N800 Pro is a lot stiffer than the N800, I feel, but both the new 700 Pro and the 800 Pro just so easy to hit. Like it just feels effortless. And you know, and are not very demanding on the body as well. So I feel Nanoflare is great rackets for the junior, and a lot of the top junior kids use the Nanoflare series, especially for girls. So I'll say, you know, like find a racket that is easy to play with, easy to control, not too physically demanding on the body, and just go with that. You know, like for the junior as they grow, their basic and their fundamentals still needs a lot of work. Don't use a racket that's very demanding because it will probably ruin their body quite quickly. So yeah, that's from my experience anyway. I think for rackets wise, we are pretty lucky with a lot of rackets that are coming out from the like of Victor, Linings and Yonex, and they all seem to make rackets that are just so easy to hit now that any style of player can use. So I don't think you can really go wrong with any racket you buy, really. Probably the only racket that probably will be very tricky will be the new 1000ZZ, just because it's such a demanding racket, like technically and physically. But most of the other rackets, they are pretty cool. So good luck, enjoy badminton, and just go and have some fun. That's probably the most important thing. This is just a tool, okay? Everything else, it's just really about just go out and enjoy and play badminton. So have a wonderful day. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I would love to hear what's your favorite racket, you know, the age that your age and the racket you're playing with, so your level, and you know, comment down of your kids as well. You know, what age they playing, what level they playing, what racket they playing, and how are they finding their rackets. I would love to know. Okay, have a wonderful day and see you guys later. Bye bye.